Okay, looks like we are on. And if you can't hear me, just let me know in the comments. I'm trusting that the sound is working. Okay, I think that seems to be okay there. All right, picking up sound. Okay, Sophie, your turn for load shedding. Oh dear. Anyway, there'll be a recording and it should be up on YouTube tomorrow as well. So if you have to leave, you can catch up from there. Well, as I mentioned in an email today, I have also been battling with the electricity things, and I thought, well, let's do a live video in the gap that we have. And what I want to paint today is a little Cape cottage from one of my favorite little villages in the Western Cape. And it's going to be full of trees and full of light, which is really my favorite subjects. And this is going to be painted on a small little panel. I'll cut to that in a moment. And just painted very loosely, very quickly, and with the idea of making the most of light and shade to create something attractive. But most importantly for me is I want to try and get the feeling of this scene. When I visited this area and I saw the scene that I'm going to show you just now, it was an immediate attraction. I immediately knew this was going to be a subject for a painting. And I think a lot of you realize that when you see a beautiful scene as well. So it may look complicated, but I'm going to simplify it to the important shapes of light and shade, a few little extra details here and there, but very few. And the main thing is just to try and get that little touch of light. Okay, let's show you what I'm talking about. And okay, you should be able to see my easel and also the little cottage. And that is okay. For some reason, and we're just going to see if I can make one change there. No. All right, for some strange reason, we're looking at a mirror image there. So, but I don't think that's going to make too much change. Let's see if I can make one quick change with that. It doesn't look like it. How strange. All right, thanks, Marina. That is very peculiar. I'm just having a quick look at settings, so just give me a moment. I think this is within YouTube itself. So all right, I'm going to do the painting, but you're going to see the unfortunately the reference the other way around. Hang on, here we go. I'm just seeing if there's one. No. That is very odd. Okay, let's begin. As I mentioned, the reference is going to, as you are looking at it, seems to go off to the left, and mine is going off to the right. So that is a setting somewhere, and I'm not quite sure where that is. So you'll still get the whole impression though, so don't worry about that. So what am I using? Titanium white, cerulean blue, ultramarine, a bit of orange, and yellow ochre, burnt sienna, red light, alizarin crimson, and lemon yellow. Right, so pretty standard. And that is pretty much my standard palette. I think orange is probably the one thing. Sometimes I mix myself, sometimes I just use if I need to work quickly. All right, so let's have a look. The focal point is the cottage, but I may add a figure near the corner of the road. We'll see how that goes. Because it's such a small little panel, this is probably about 6 by 8 inch, and it might not be necessary to add in anything else. So let's have a go. Now, the first thing I do is to kind of figure out where my horizon line is going to be, and I try not to put it in the middle. So I'm just going to actually bring this one a little lower, because a lot of the action is above the horizon line, as it were. So we'll try and fit a bit of that in. The other important aspect here is this dark of the trees. The dark mass shape is the anchor for the scene. And I'm going to just quickly get that in. I'm just using, I think this is a number 4 little round brush. So I'm not drawing this out. I'm simply going to very loosely sketch this in. And when you do this, even with a pencil, just do it very, very loosely. Don't get caught up in lines and you end up coloring in between the lines. Just get a composition sketched in. And that road over there swoops around. Okay. And I try to square off the S shape of a road like this, so it doesn't look like a snake going up. And for some reason, chopping it a little seems to help. Okay, so we got our biggest area in. Now I need to find a little space for our quaint little Cape cottage. And just a bit of something showing there. We've got some trees over here, trees over here, and a beautiful splash of yellow light over here. So that's important. Nice shade down here. And this roof just sloping away a little. So perspective lines, just keep an eye on that. There's that little door up there, steps leading up. I really love these little details. So I will keep that in. Trees, bushes, things going. There's something up here. All I see here really is a diagonal line leading to our focal area. So I try and keep that in. Telephone posts are beautiful vertical shapes. However, if there's no room for them, I may leave them out, but I try to put those in. Lovely splash of light here against shade, warm against cool. That's what I want. All right, let's have a quick look. Yeah, it looks like the reference is going to make sense to everyone, so we'll just carry on with that. Okay. I think that's all going to be fine. All right, now, such an important element here, of course, is the shadow. So, shadows across, also very loose. We'll just play that as we go. Shadows down here, shadows there. Telephone pole, another one. All right, so all a big mess. But this is how I just get myself settled into a composition. Just get yourself moving in the flow, and then you'll feel more comfortable. So we'll put the little brush aside, and now I get something big. All bristle brushes with oils. That's really very important. This is a size 8 brush, and you can see how big it is in relation to the panel. It's about 1 inch. That's what you want. That's what you want to get started. I'll put a little bit of white spirits on the tip here just to get the first layer going. But from that point on, we use the paint straight out the tube. This is quite soft paint. All right, dark shapes. Ultramarine. I'm going to put a little touch of lemon yellow in there just to start things off. And we got one shape, sort of an in-between, and then we get into some light shapes. But overall, this is all going to be pretty dark. So let's just get that in quickly. Sort of swooping there. Okay, so that's fine. Where else do I see strong darks? Over here. Let's just get a shape in. We go over it. Some darks up here. Behind the roof. That's more sort of middle value, so it's not too dark. So let's bring a little bit more lemon yellow. And of course, keep white paint out. I'm just seeing a Bruno from Germany, Selma, Brazil, USA, Minnesota, Constance, and Andrea, Canada. Okay, good. So a bit more lemon yellow, no white paint. Try and keep the white paint out for as long as possible, and only where it's really necessary. A little bit of cerulean blue to cool that down. That's a bit too warm there. Some up here. We're moving pretty quickly. A little lighter over here. That is very bright, so just a little drop of red. Just knock it back. And shadows down here. There's some light we're going to reserve. That'll come in. A lot more cerulean blue, because for me cerulean blue is the cold blue. And where I want some really cold shadows, I'll use that. So covering a lot of space very quickly. And let's get more lemon yellow, a little bit of cerulean, and get into these middle greens. Some up here. I'm going to put actually a touch of orange in there. Some there. Just feeling our way around. A little more of that. I quite like that warmth. Although there's quite a lot of cools and shade going on, this is a warm day, and I want the light to be warm. Right, so it's important that it all looks nice and warm when it's done. And quite a bit of shadow here, some grass. There's a bit of trees, things going on there. Fussy little branches. I don't think I have much room for that, so let's just get that covered. Shadows. Over here, we'll bring in some light there, some cool green there, some strong light. It's all going to be looking really good. There's some interesting shapes over here, sort of this could be prickly pear tree, shrub, whatever. Making some cool blue. There's going to be some lavender here. She might just take a bit of tissue, just lighten that up. All right, we got now the lights. Okay, get the first bit of light in here. I'm going to change the brush. This first brush has all been used for dark, and I don't want to mix that into the lights. We want to keep colors clean. Let's just clean up here a little as well. All right, let's get some sky. And now I'll bring in the white, titanium white. I want a warm sky. I'm going to use a little yellow ochre in there. A little touch of that lemon yellow. And now in the reference photo, the sky is so blown out by the camera. And there's other things in the background. There's even a hint of the distant mountains. But there's no room to fit that all in. So I'm going to just get a fairly simple sky in there with some warm light color. Yellow ochre, titanium white, a little bit of lemon yellow, just a bit. And I'm putting it in pretty thick. Bristle brush, paint straight out the tube. This is part of making the painting looser and more impressionist. If I use paint that's too thin, it's going to blend away very easily. I'm going to lose texture. Okay, so that's that. The road. I'll just get a first pass over here with the road colors. I'm going to definitely get some more paint in there, but just block it in quickly. Brought in a little bit of red light for the road into the same colors I used for the sky. And the red light just kind of just makes the road, the lights in the road, a little darker than I used in the sky. The sky is the lightest light. I've got to keep it that way. And there's going to be some light here. All right. I'm going to move to a number 6 brush and just get this Cottage, the basics blocked in there. So a little bit of white, bit of cerulean, a little touch of alizarin, and a little bit more cerulean. I want a cool violet for the shade of the Cottage. Just try and put it down in one stroke. And that way I keep the color note clean. Otherwise, I'm going to pick up colors beneath. Now, I did clean off the brush quickly, just with a little bit of that white spirits, and then immediately dry it off with tissue. Just to show you, I'm just using basic tissue paper. Clean off your brush as often as you can. You don't see that in the camera for the most part, but I use a lot to keep the brush clean. So let's just block in this shaded side. Some of it I'll go over with foliage again, and the roof as well. So I'm going to make the roof fairly warm, bit of alizarin crimson, some white, little touch of that blue I used for the side of the house. And this is just I think it's a metal roof, sheet metal. So it's reflecting a lot of light. And just a few glimpses showing through the trees here. And I'll just square that off. Right, there's a nice little chimney. Bit of shadow. Let's just put that in. All right, I've made that a bit too big behind there, so some foliage. All right, I need to get some structure to the cottage as well, just a few structural lines. And I'm just going to use a bit of dark ultramarine and burnt sienna. And we'll just cut back in. That'll do. And how about a purple door up here? There's some type of wooden stairway and platform. I think you don't see it on this one, but a lot of these cottages have the little touch of just a column up here and a bit of light showing off it, a bit of light at the edge of that chimney. So these shapes are, these lines I'm putting in are quite thick. I will cut in and simplify them a bit just now. And now I need to get in the shadows on the road. And as soon as this blocking is done, I can really get into the fun part and getting in some nice thick paint. So very simple shadows. I'll refine these as we go. And there's a bit of curbing. I'm just going to use a light violet, gray. All right, so that's there. There's a bit of... All right, so first pass almost there, and we're getting... all right, Jose, why do you paint it all so dark? It's going to explode with light very soon. I haven't put the lights in as yet, except for the sky and a little bit over here. But now we get going with the lights. The darks are going to make all the lights show and stand out. Okay. So let's start with that now and get stuck in. All right, a big splash of light over here. Let's get some lemon yellow, get some white. Mix some in-between greens as well. Just try and get as many colors going as I can. And some orange. Okay, let's get that light. A bit of orange, bit of yellow ochre as well, why not? All right over here. Okay. A big, strong bit of color. Let's really get some, I mean, who doesn't like yellow? Yellow is the happy color. And it's winter here now, so I want to see as much yellow as I can. And some light up here. There's some beautiful touches of light coming through between the trees over here, and we'll establish those just now, but I'm just going to pop the light in. Light coming down, make that a little darker. So it's more indirect. So I try to distinguish between where the direct light is hitting, like over there, and the in-between indirect light. All right, so let's get this camera on. Okay, a few more strong areas of light. There's a bush over here, which is just beautifully placed. And some orange. Some light up here. So I try to work through this really quickly, and then on stage 3, I try to see where I can refine and improve the shapes and get in smaller shapes. And it's to get the wet into wet, you've got to be pretty decisive with your brush stroke. You have one go. When it's wet into wet, you got one go. Otherwise, you're in trouble. So, here I've got light yellow. I'm going to cut in here a bit into this dark. Right, now you can see it's all on the brush. I've got to clean that off before I can put down more color. And that's how you do it. You have to be really disciplined with putting down your color. All right, I got some middle value greens to get in up here. I don't want to lose this dark. I've got to be careful. And I'm going to bring in some cerulean blue, which is really just a color temperature shift in here. It's not losing the dark too much. But over here, at the lower down, it should still be pretty dark. So try not to lose your darks. Sounds. And let's get a bit of violet. And I'm going to bring a bit of violet over here just to soften these edges between the light and the dark tree. Okay. Over here as well, a little bit of violet. And of course, the violet goes really nicely against all those yellows. So don't be shy. Every sunny landscape must have some violet in it. It can be warm violet like this. And that obviously you'll put somewhere where it's going to be getting some more warm light. Down here, for instance, some indirect light, a little bit warmer. Take some cerulean, cool it down. And over here, with these beautiful sort of light blue, could be agave, it could be prickly pear, I'm not sure. And there's kind of like lavender flowers over here. I don't think they are lavenders, but it has that sort of color. So now the colors start developing. Very simply done, but you're adding new color notes. All right, we need to get into these darks, and this dark is still the basic block in. I need to just get the color temperature changes there, just a little bit more cool greens. This may not be really visible on streaming right now, but what I'm doing is creating just little shapes that suggest maybe something else, some other foliage cut in between, and it builds up in interest at the same time. It's a few darks up here. I must just keep those. I need more lemon yellow. So a sketch like this can be done fairly quickly. So you don't want to worry about the details. What you want is to just suggest as much as you can and leave a lot to the viewer to work out. That's part of the fun. Okay, now there's some darker greens over here, and then I will just start cutting in to that dark line of the cottage a bit, so it's a little more refined. Cut into some of these yellow shapes and make them more interesting. All right, let's just have a look. Let's try and do something with that. It's just a bit. Needs a little bit of variation. So a very dark green in there. I don't lose the value of this shape. It still remains a strong dark, but there's a little bit more happening in there. I'm also going to soften this edge a bit. All right, I want to get some trees in here, or a suggestion of trees. So a little bit of burnt sienna, a little touch of blue, and just a suggestion of a tree trunk or three. If you're doing two, try and add a third. Three is better than two. And burnt sienna brings in a little bit of, it's a kind of a red after all. And reds show off the greens very nicely. So a bit of burnt sienna actually is a nice touch. Let's get a little highlight on some of that. Just down here. Just a bit of orange, white, and burnt sienna. Just bring a few sparks of light as it comes through. And okay, we've pretty much touched on everything. So now I start working a few little extras, shapes. I must have a look. Actually, there's a nice glimpse of light hitting the side of the cottage there. So I'm going to bring that in. With some really thick paint. I hope it sticks. Let's just put it down. Okay. I'm going to get that round brush because now this is a more delicate stroke, but I need a shadow under the roof. All right, so that'll do. Let's go back to the roof, get a bit more color and light into that as well. And just refine a few things. highlight there. Don't get me to do a straight line. I think I have a mental block against straight lines. Okay, get that back. Just get that refined a little. That darker. Okay, I need a few more foliage shapes over here before we get to the home stretch. Nothing too obvious, just break in a little. Just sort of bit of light cerulean, suggesting organic shapes in here. I can cut in over here and just develop that yellow shape a little more. Bring in a few light touches of cerulean, a little bit of alizarin, and I think a bit of light also hitting the sides of these leaves. So let's get that in. Just a spot. Okay. I'm going to deal with this background a bit. Let's get in some strong lights. I'm assuming with strong light coming from across, we're going to get some highlights. So let's get a few of those in up here. Soften those edges. I want to still keep a dark behind the cottage roof. And I must cut down there a bit. Okay, so that cottage looking a little bit more refined. One. Okay. So I just go through everything I've covered already, but now smaller shapes. If I see a large shape, I see if I can cut in somewhere and just break it up a bit. And the painting starts to develop itself. It gets little points of interest. Maybe suggesting some trees in the distance there with some very light value blue. All right, let's get into this area. We really need some interesting things going on here. So I'm going to throw in a few sky holes. Just cut in a little. This is looking a bit too diagonal. I need to break that up. So I can cut in with sky color or go out with some of that violet I mixed early on. And just break up that shape a bit. It's a bit better. All right, I feel like I need to get in some more light. And just develop these lights a bit. Some light along the sidewalk. This can be really strong. Why not? Just drag in some impasto. A little bit of burnt sienna. Get a bit of definition there. Cut in with some of these yellows. Need to get over here. I left them out. I must never leave out light. Always find an excuse to bring it in. Okay, so coming into shape, but still very, very loose, very much based on, what would you call it? Just simplification of details. If this was a painting you could do outdoors, it would look very much like this. This is what my outdoor painting kind of works out to be. I try and find a bunch of details and try and turn them into one or two shapes. If I can do that, then that's been successful. Let's not lose these beautiful yellows over here. Some light there. All right, let's have a look at these trees. It's a little, maybe it needs something, maybe a little bit of cool blue violet in here. Cerulean blue. That might be a little too light. Let's bring that in here. Just need to darken that a bit more. Some interesting colors, just some spontaneous colors. That's a bit ultramarine, bit of lemon yellow. Okay, that's a bit better. Just go back in there, make that shape a bit more, not so symmetric. A few spots of light coming through here. Very important. And a little bit of light. Okay, we need to just fix this up. This area here has got, to me, so much cerulean blue. It's really cold. So I'm going to use quite a lot of cerulean blue, just pure cerulean blue, and mix it in with the green. Some burnt sienna. That's a bit too big. Okay, so that's really nice and cool. A little bit of dark as well. And Okay, I think that's pretty much done there. A few little organic branch shapes. Just drag the brush, let it roll around a bit. Okay, so that's just broken it up a little. That's a bit better. Now I want to get some of this burnt sienna onto this side. So let's bring just a little on the side of the road here, just to balance that color out. There could be some there. All right. Okay, the home stretch, the foreground shadow and light in that shadow. And maybe we'll put in the telephone pole. Let's just cover that up. All right, shadows. Some more cerulean blue, a little bit of alizarin, a little bit of white. Don't let it go too far. The shadows on this side of the road will be lighter and slightly warmer. Over here will be darker and cooler. Okay. That's just more light from the sky reflecting into the road over here. More blue. Let's cool that down. And I want a stronger touch of light there. That's better. Just break that up. And these lines now, they just look a bit too similar. I got to change that. Cut in a bit there. Cut in there. Okay, so that's just taken away that little stripy effect there. Very easy to do. All right, I need some light home stretch here. Let's get this, make some space to work. Some white, some yellow ochre, touch of yellow. I want this really nice and thick. And I'm going to drag this over. And get some really good impasto. Some lights here. And a bit of broken light coming through. Let's get something really nice and strong on this side. That's better. Over here. Strong sunny green. Just pick it up nice and thick. Some more there. And a bit more up here. This is fun stuff. You just, where do you want the light? You put it down where you want it. Let's break in there. Light everywhere. Bit more orange here. Well, that is really great. Orange and blue work lovely together. So let's put some in. All right. What about those? Should we put the telephone poles in? Do you sometimes think about quitting being an artist? Never. I quit everything else to become an artist. So I'm committed. I like that more. That's just... just something here. Let's have a look. Quick questions. Thanks, Joan. Yep, the sun is coming out. Right, what about, are we going to put that telephone posts in? I don't know, maybe that's just too much. Yeah, not sure about the poles. Put one down here. Maybe something in the back. We can always take it out. We can always take it out. Sergio, you've made me nervous. Look at that. Terrible. And nah. No, let's take it out. You're right, Sergio. Keep it clean. I thought there would be too little space and it'd be a bit unnecessary, and so it proved. At least for those. Maybe that one I can leave it. So what else do we need? I think we're pretty much done. You can come back to a scene like this and add little bits. But, you know, I think a lot gets lost when you start looking for things to add. And you got to just stick with your idea of a simplified scene. And as long as you got the light, you've succeeded. Now I'm just looking for sort of breaking up any shapes that are too regular. That over there needs that. All right. Yeah, I think that's pretty much done. Just get my... And I'll probably add this demonstration, an HD version, onto my course, Painting Trees and Light. But the YouTube version will be available public for viewing anytime you want to check in there as well. I think just a few little darks over here. Actually, I forgot some dark accents. Dark accents are actually very useful. So let's put a few. Like so. Okay, a few more questions. All right, thanks Byron, thanks Salma, Astrid, and yeah, I think it's, remember, it's such a small panel, so you've got to be economical with your brush strokes. You've got to try and just put one down where you know it's got to go and leave it alone. If you fiddle with that brush stroke, it quickly becomes a mess. Let's see if I can get some tape off here and just makes it stand out a little more clearly. So you've got to be quite decisive with your brush strokes. Put that down and then leave it. And don't skimp on your paint. Put in lots of paint. You can do the basic blocking in first and then go in with thick paint in your light areas. You can keep the shadows thin, but in your light areas, you've got to put in a lot of paint. And don't be shy. Very seldom is a painting ruined because of too much paint. Paintings are usually spoiled because of too little paint. And I feel we need a little bit of Cottage showing through there. All right, I can leave it alone. Okay, thanks very much. And I hope you enjoy this and get some inspiration, try some painting. Those of you who don't know me and are not aware of my painting lessons and courses, just have a look on the links on my YouTube channel and you may be able to find something that you'd like to do. I also do a monthly live demonstration, my live channel, and that's really fun to do. So if that's what you want, you can join me there and we all share our work and do critiques, and it's a lot of fun as well. But otherwise, if you just want to watch the YouTube channel, that's fantastic. Make sure you've subscribed before you go, and I'd appreciate that as well. All right. Any last comments? Constance, going to walk the dog. Very good. Thanks, Margie, and Dawn. Thank you very much. Gabrielle, Carolyn from the US, Marina in Italy, and all over the world. That's fantastic. Okay, I think that's it. We've got a little Cape scene, And I'll put a picture of this on my Instagram as well. And you can get a nice clear version of that, and we'll have a look. All right. Thanks very much, everyone. I'm going to end off, and really nice having seen you all here. Anyone I haven't seen? There's Joan as well, Astrid, Lee. All right, excellent. Okay. Cheers, everyone. Have a good day, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.